It's 8 o'clock on Saturday night, and we're here with Everything Creates Touch in a World of Enjoyment, episode 12, with our good friends Rick Weaver and Dave Public. Thanks for tuning in. In the background, you can hear some uncredited John Hassel. But we're going to interrupt that with a live video of dinner music performing, I'd say a good 6 or 7 years ago in Columbia, South Carolina. Probably on the winter solstice. So enjoy that.
Patient me.
Folks, please help me greet tonight's first guest, Rick Weaver, to the show. Rick, greetings. From Rhode Island, I'm waving a hand, and you're in Texas, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. San Antonio, South Texas. Oh, I like that.
So you were on stage performing, you were singing to a video that you created and to backdrop of music that you also wrote, performed alone, and recorded, mixed, and then prepared in a media that could be reproduced from a sound person's pulpit. I would say that when you rack up all those abilities, you are indeed a man of many hats.
A generalist, yeah.
Yeah.
Master of none.
Would you say that there are even more hats, that you're the kind of person that you have dominion or control over?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Many hats, like there are many winter weeds in the yard. Many hats bearing the imprint of the state of Texas here, the state shape, southern bit carved out by the Rio Grande there. got the little panhandle, and then it says Texas in the middle. There's a star. That's actually right about where we're at right here. But by many hats, we have 2, 3, 4. A lot, really.
That's indeed a handsome collection of handsome hats, and I would like one. I would like one for myself. You know, I do come bred and spread in New England, and I do have a lot of regional pride. But if I were to become overcome with a sense of lust for donning like a cap, a chapeau, if you will, that said Texas on it, like how would I go about doing that?
I'm glad you asked, because they are available. $2 plus shipping. And you can get one of these yourself. These hats that say Texas.
Oh shit.
In a red, it's red stitching there, and then the cap is blue. It's got one of these. I like the snap-on one's better, but you know, this is what you're working with here. But yeah, let me just put one of these aside. Did any of those look good? Any of the ones that were shown?
I'll take one I'll take one in blue. And while we're at it, folks at home are interested perhaps in picking one out for themselves. Let's roll the tape of the official commercial for these Texas hats that we're watching. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Let's make a commercial. Hey, all right. We're live here. We're making a commercial. So, just want to let everyone know that there are some new things in the shop for ordering. Yeah. So there's new things in the shop. There's hats. There's hats. Hats in the shop. Let's say Texas. So there we go. So if you'd like one, they're available for $2 plus shipping at a Rick J. Weaver. rickweaver.bigcartel.com or rickweaver.bandcamp.com or rickjweaver.github.io/rick-site. Again, that's RICKWEAVER.com or RICKWEAVER.bandcamp.com or RIC.
All right, folks. Jump on your device.
100%.
Let her rip, folks. We're going to play some of Rick's music in the background while we discuss things. This is from his album Blue Sky. It's available on his Bandcamp page. Rick, I've been listening to your music all week in my leisure time, and I actually came up with a bunch of questions, which is pretty rare for me. But before we get into that, we actually have a video question for you to answer. I think this is going to be a rather difficult one.
Oh
so
boy.
let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. Yeah.
A few years ago, we played a show together in the basement of a pizza place in Virginia, and you had an argument with one of the people we were playing with, and I always wanted to ask you what the philosophical argument was about and what the other person's take was and what you felt, because it seemed like you were passionately arguing something, and and I genuinely wish that I could have understood more about that conversation, because it seemed kind of important, actually. So that's my question.
Oh wow. uh that was a terrible, terrible night for this guy. Actually, Dave Public was there, and he did a fantastic job, and all the other performers did. It was at a pizza shop in Virginia, and I think they just the argument was passionate. But my behavior that entire night was extremely, extremely irrational. It might have been the last time I played. Started at the pizza shop pretty early, watching. There was what's that movie called? Brewster's Millions.
Yeah.
Brewster's Millions. Okay. That movie put me in a really, really strange mood. But yeah, essentially by the time the argument in question happened, I was pretty much not a happy camper, and there was a person who was a reminder of the past that was like, I don't know, I think it was just brought up that hey, your buddy said hi, and I just wanted to make it real clear that the person wasn't my buddy. Because of things he had done. But that's about it. That's
Copy
about as
that.
vague as it gets. Brewster's Millions, pizza, irrational live performance behavior, and
Ghosts from the dark past.
Ghosts from the past, yeah.
I'm going to hit you with one of my own questions before we get to the next video. You can ignore or engage with this if you wish. This is my notebook. Everybody say hi to my notebook. Rick, do you write music, etc., in the context of being part of a larger cadre of writers, people, music scene? Or do you feel like when you're engaged in the act of making music, writing music, creating and recording, do you feel as though you're basically operating in a void that doesn't reference any other outside work?
Oh no, there's references everywhere. Yeah, it's kind of saturated with that. I'm not sure if how much of it is like social though, or but it's definitely a conversation with music Yeah, no, it's very much. I don't really feel like any of it is very, very new. It's more like it's got a lot of references to the to things. um, the yeah, no, yeah, that was. I feel like I'm striking out with these answers.
No wrong answers on this fucking show.
I just want everyone to know that these, I'm selling these hats to make the manager happy. That's all. That's all I want to say. This mountain of hats. Yeah.
Speaking of the manager, we got a message from Big Al today, and he wanted to address the audience and have his 2 cents be heard as well. So, folks, without any further ado, I'm going to sync up this video of Big Al from Hold Records and his directly addressing you.
Mr. Weaver is my golden boy. I'm putting out his record, and he's going to give Daddy lots and lots of money. Ricky Boy is going to help Dad go on a luxurious vacay. If anyone slanders my golden weavy baby and prevents my wallet from getting fat with Benjamins, that means Big Al can't buy more crypto. Gonna have to hurt you. His new record is gonna be big time. I only work with big time. Time is money. See ya.
Big Al, everybody.
I'm doing this for Al.
Gotta pay the bills.
I gotta pay his bills. Yeah, that's right.
One hand washes the other, sort of. Let's see if I can't cook up another notebook question. Kind of piggybacks off where you were trailing off from with the last one. You often use touchstones from the American Songbook in degraded or exaggerated contexts of dysfunction and potentially mental illness. I noticed that as a contrast with, say, Jeff Zager's approach to covering songs. I'm assuming Zagers is putting himself in a position of somebody who can be better represented by a song of someone else's writing, while you seem to twist it to inform the narrative of in the middle of a song. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll reference or use and borrow lyrics from a song with a twisted and somewhat cynical perspective on it. And when I say perspective, the question is, would you care to comment on the concept of the acid perspective?
The asset perspective?
Acid as in LSD.
On the LSD perspective, well, LSD isn't going to pay the bills for Big Al. Maybe back in the day, and it was the latest thing on the streets. But the thing that's going to pay the bills these days is hats. And in fact, this is the only thing that will pay anyone's bills at any point ever again. This is the new normal. Yeah, I think maybe the dysfunction is accidental, or no. Yeah, I mean, sonically, I guess I know that there's the grotesque aspect of it. It's hard to know. Um, I mean, it's all kind of one-way communication. I'm pretty comfortable with one-way communication, one-way street stuff. I'm somebody who likes the gatekeeper model of media in general. The idea that like you pick up a book and you read it and you don't talk back to it, and the author isn't there to interact. And I think that kind of creates that sort of loop of like, so somebody picks up a book and reads that, and then they're writing, and then they attribute that. I guess I think of it more as attribution. Than degradation, but you're right. Like sonically, there is definitely that, and it is being put into hyperbolic, or like an aspect of the song where the lyrics or the intention of the lyrics is being focused on. But
Sticking to the analogy of literature, is there a narrative continuity from one release to the next, and is there a sequential storyline or collection of characters that are being utilized in your collected output?
You know, I think the first, was it the first band? I guess it was. We were called, the Organ Donors. I think that was the first band. That was always very much like imagined soundtracks to visual components that might not have come to fruition or not. I also grew up listening to a lot of soundtrack music without actually having seen the videos, the movies themselves, VHS. But so I think that a lot of that stuff has that. But I'm really, really against world building in general. Maybe it's just the word itself that kind of reject. It's definitely a little bit more personal than that. I don't know. I'm not really that into fantasy, I guess. Though I am into science fiction and reality, and a recombination of those things, I guess. But there are a couple ones that are maybe, if not linear storylines, are set in the same environment. I guess genre is the guide point. Genre would be the marker in terms of movie genre. Like you got your Western, you got your rom-com, you got your action movie, you got your slapstick silent comedy that doesn't go on a record, because actually this is a real early memory of the Organ Donors. We had this the CDR release that we sent out for review, and there was this really sober, serious review of it, and it described it was really getting into the analysis of it, interpretation, and then by like the third or fourth paragraph, it's like, and then we realized why this CDR was left blank, and I think we completely accidentally sent this site a blank CD. It's their full intention to have music and sound on it, but I do like the idea of releasing like a slapstick black and white silent film that's just a blank release. But I don't know, there's already a lot of that kind of stuff, that quiet sound stuff. I think people already get that point.
Speaking of black and white, is there a difference? Is there an intentional difference between the line drawing album art, and the album art that seems to be more populated with specific characters. And is that like a clue as to like what genre you're dealing with from album to album?
No, the Bandcamp thing is really really anything digital is I'm like just really bad at archiving things. So everything's sort of like grab. Most of the stuff I have to piece from like Google image searches or Discogs or like, you know, some Tomentosa or something, or just to find somewhere online where like there's an image of that stuff. And then the hard drive archives are in pretty bad shape. So I think that's just sort of grabbing at whatever I could. I think maybe when the line drawings first, I felt like weird to put the album cover that the label had put out, like the label would have the authority to do that. No, actually, I just didn't. I just don't have any. I don't have any of them in the archives. Yeah.
Sweet.
I never really been good with the image accompaniment, the visual complement. Never really quite figured it out. Actually, now kind of, yeah. You just involve somebody who you respect and does good work. So that's like a lot easier than trying to sit there, me drawing a shitty drawing on a piece of paper.
Another notebook question. Do you have a firm grasp in your mind on your back catalog? Or is it just some sort of incoherent blur in your mind? Because I noticed on reviewing some of the live videos that there'll be songs from different albums played back to back, and it doesn't seem like you're recreating the albums, unless I'm wrong. But yeah, I was just wondering if you have a grasp on your back catalog or if you just don't.
Yeah, I do. In terms of like the memories of what was going on in my mind at like that, maybe that year or 2 years or 3 years, and what there might have been like maybe more of a to-do list and goal, which are, you know, maybe like I'm sure people can relate, like 5 to 10% fulfilled, because it just takes me very, very long to do things. I'm a leisurely man. But I guess I have it in grasp in terms of that. But I don't have much of a memory of it. It would take a little while to conjure that memory.
I feel like I've been hogging a lot of your attention. We're going to go back to Video World, and we're going to get a bit technical here real quick.
Hey, Rick. My question is, I was wondering if you had any examples of how you've utilized inputs 5, 6, and 7, 8 in a Tascam Porta Studio. Hope you're doing well.
I love this the long hair thing. Let's see. Yeah, I should check this out really. I got one right here that really only inputs 1 and 4, I think, kind of work, or maybe it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 don't work. Inputs 5, 6, 7, and 8. You know what? I've never once explored those. That would be fun to do. I would love. I mean, if this was a conversation and it's all one-sided and out of sync, exactly like what I said. I like it earlier. But if this was a conversation, well, I'll pretend it is, and then maybe in 5 years I'll get an answer, or maybe 10 minutes. I would love to hear how Morgan utilizes it, because I feel like I could definitely learn a lot. It's actually kind of sad with how often I've goofed off with these things that that I don't really know. I've never used their full capabilities. So this looks like 5, 6, 7, and 8. It says 7 stereo inputs right there. I've never used those.
Yep.
Just
Effect
used
sends
the front
or
one.
internal feedback. Could definitely manipulate those for those purposes. Yeah, folks, as usual, you'll be able to interact with our guests via the telephone, text, and Twitch chat momentarily. We still got a couple notebook questions and video questions. We're going to go directly to the Lone Star State now and see if you can tackle this next question.
Hey Rick, hope you're enjoying your program. Sure is windy down here at the dam. My question for you is, you've been listening to a lot of Scatman's music, particularly the Scatman's World album. Can you give us some insight as to what you enjoy technically and what you enjoy lyrically from this album?
Oh yeah, I like that question. Actually, it's not the Scatman World. Yeah, no, it's definitely Scatman's World. What's the follow-up one though? There's just some gold in there. So technically and lyrically, so there's this one song, Lebanon, that's a deep track on the follow-up to the Scatman John's second record. Let me this is live television. Everybody jam! Exclamation point. Yes. 96, the follow-up to Scatman's World. And unfortunately, Take Your Time, the 99 album, not so great. But Scatman's World and Everybody Jam, yeah, technically, it's just pristine production. The two gentlemen that produced those records also did a little spin-off thing called the KOs, and they have a great Ready to Rumble mix, the Let's Get Ready to Rumble, where there's like this, that Euro 4 on the floor thing, they're introducing the contenders into the ring, and it's like samples of announcers and sound effects and this great beat. But yeah, all the Scatman John has that stuff. Lyrically, though, I know I said Lebanon, which is a great example, but also, I mean, let's just start with the gateway to Scatman's World. Because you got to go through the gateway before you get to the corner of Lebanon on Everybody Jam, which is Scatman's World. No, wait, it's not. It's that other one. Scatman's World was a follow-up single. Yeah, I mean, it's about overcoming things, being yourself, making outrageous sounds with your mouth. He's very compassionate lyrically. He's very I mean, I just feel welcome there. I mean, I feel like there's just open arms. It is a bit of a fantasy, but it's not. I mean, a lot of that kind of stuff. Really been trying to give the absolute pacifism a try since December. It's probably the most like radical thing I've gotten into, but it's a lot of the stuff that is very optimistic and positive does feel like a fantasy. Maybe that's because I have a very cynical and skeptical side, or maybe that's because the world is just filled with just outrageous things that are just awful. But I mean, honestly, if Scatman's world became a reality, I mean, how do things become a reality? You know, if you listen to Scatman's world, or you embrace that, and live it, live in it, I think the world around you is gonna start feeling a little bit more like that. Yeah, so the production, funny mouth sounds, positive lyrics. Yeah.
Very nice.
That about covers it.
All
I
right.
could have just said that instead of 5 minutes of complete and utter rambling, but
No, we're going all the way down to the bottom every Saturday night here at Everything I Touch, We Chill With. I got a couple more notebook questions.
Oh, yeah.
Go into detail about your relationship to the bass guitar, which, in my opinion, is the most enigmatic voice that you use in your recordings.
Yeah. I always feel really, self-conscious that I'm really bad at bass. So I think that I devote a lot of time to working with the bass. Bass and vocals. I just cannot mix. I can't nail down. A lot of the stuff, most of the stuff that's up online there is recorded and mixed on headphones almost entirely. So I think it comes from that. There's a sort of basslessness to a lot of that stuff. And then there's like a period of maybe overcompensation where it's like the bass is so freaking loud. I just got out of the multi-track recorder and into the digital audio workstation. So that's really been it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I give overdubs bad name, but was that the question? Was that the answer? Was that?
Nope. Next question. Would you be so gracious and kind to describe touchstone artists that inform the way that you structure your albums and let you know when they're done?
I have a big problem of not being able to let anything go in terms of until it's completed, but also like writing bad songs and knowing that they're just really bad and that they should be left as drafts. But like I still kind of think about unfinished songs from a long time ago. And early on, there was way less of a filter process. A lot of the more folkier stuff that just graciously I don't have recordings of. Who really? Probably Ennio Morricone. But yeah, he doesn't really make albums, but I mean, it's very clear touchstone artist there. God, even earlier, early Weird Al Yankovic for sure. That was some of the earliest music that I enjoyed. There was, let's see, just anything that's an album. That's always the mental framework. I think there was a point where maybe that's where the unfiltered thing is, where there was that era of the CD where you had like all this time and you could just dump all this time on there. So that was really what was going on with for a while. Was like, I got to fill up this how many minute 78 minutes and 54 seconds or something like that. And then the album is a much easier structure to work with. So the other touchstone artists would be the album, the 40 minutes or under, preferably.
The technological phenomena of the album. We're going to cruise over to St. Louis, Missouri and check in with the beloved homie and see what he's got for Rick. Josh Levi, everybody.
Hi, Rick. We're eating cereal in St. Louis, Missouri. We have a question for you. We're wondering what is the best city you've ever lived in and why? Well, we hope you're doing well, and our love to you, Nikki and baby Nadezhda. Bye.
Bye. Bye, Widget. Bye, Widget.
Oh, that's crazy. The other day I was just thinking of it in a list form. I'm not much of a list person. I think I couldn't really even come up with the best stuff because I could probably just write down like 10 things I listened to, but I was actually just thinking about this the other day. I think it's actually, I'm not trying to flatter the questioner, the interviewer. What is a video question? A VQ? A view? I don't know what the term for that is.
View queue.
Role, but
View queue.
View queue.
View queue.
View queue.
Yep. Yes.
But St. Louis, I would say, would be the best. And why? Yeah, you always got to ask why. Otherwise, people just say yes or no. It was very cheap and very spacious and very creative and full of like just creative activity that was like that just felt sustainable to a degree where you could I could, you felt like you could open a storefront and sell some hats. No, anything. But I mean, if I were to do it, it would be hats. In fact, it's so affordable and creative there. It would make me want to give these away in a trivia game instead of selling them. Which I would love to do here tonight, if possible.
Folks, the hats are no longer for sale. In fact, they're going to be given away as prizes in tonight's impromptu trivia game.
This is all for you, Big Al. This is all for you.
Everybody, check out Hold Records. Make Big Al a happy man. So how's this trivia game going to work, Rick?
I want to ask... I'll run this by you. I want to ask questions about you, and if anybody's listening, and anybody knows the answer or guesses, then they wait a minute. Hold on. If they get it right, they get a hat. But only you know the answer. I don't know any of the question. I don't know any of the answers.
I understand. Okay, let's play.
Okay. First question. What is Jeremy's favorite cereal?
All right, this is going to be shot out just to the Twitch chat. Twitch chat freaks. What is Jeremy Harris's favorite cereal? Get the question correct, the correct answer, and you win a hat. Eric wins a hat. Jeremy Harris does not eat cereal.
Whoa.
Very good.
Wild.
All right.
Okay.
Congratulations,
And,
Eric. We're going to get that hat out to you ASAP. Next question, please.
Okay. Next question. What is Jeremy's favorite musical instrument?
Does anyone in the Twitch chat know what my favorite musical instrument is? Guess correct and win a hat. Damn, Eric gets 2 hats. Metal Zone is correct. That is my favorite instrument.
Oh, nice. 2 hats for Eric.
2 hats coming to Rhode Island via the post. All right, we're going to do one more question, folks. What is the third question, Rick?
What does Jeremy eat anything else for breakfast, knowing the fact that he does not eat cereal? And if so, what is that preferred food? And if you get both of those right, you get three hats.
3 hats this time, folks. And here's a hint. I eat the same thing every day. And this has been true for several years now. So hit the donkey on the tail and you win what? 1, not 2, but 3 hats. Black coffee is correct as the beverage. Nathan Schreitz, you got part 1 correct. Watermelon juice. That's a deep cut. I saved that for lunch. Toad in the hole is very close, but not quite correct. Damn, egg and toast with sriracha. That's also extremely close. A fish fry. Are we going to give it to Eli? Egg and toast with sriracha? I'm going to...
Everybody... Wait, everybody gets... That's good.
Everybody wins? Everybody gets a hat.
In the world. Everybody in the world gets a hat.
A chapeau for every individual who's alive currently on Earth. Eli is correct. Eli Mulholland in New York City wins 3 hats.
3 hats.
Because that's close enough. Folks, I eat eggs, toast, and black coffee every goddamn morning.
How do you like your eggs?
I like them pretty good. Thank you.
You win a hat, Jeremy.
Bonus round. All right, we're going to go to Philadelphia for tonight's final view vid. This is going to be a 2-parter. So strap in, get comfortable, and check out Espo. Oops.
What's up, Jeremy? What's up, Rick? You're looking handsome as usual. You're both looking handsome as usual. Thanks for having me on the show. I got a couple questions for Rick, if that's okay. Two questions for Rick, if that's okay. And these questions, they weren't given to me, or I wasn't asked to to ask them, or this isn't prompted in any way. This is off the top of my head. And so here we go. Question number 1. Rick, during the recording of your most recent album with Zach Coons, the 1990 Cincinnati Reds, an album that has both defied convention and delighted critics and laymen alike, and can be found at coonsandweaver.bandcamp.com. What ancient mystic rituals did you perform to so aptly channel and capture the energy of the 1990 Cincinnati Reds?
That's being in a band with Zach Coons right there. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the cosmic energy that is the Coonster. Yeah,
Tapped in.
yeah, yeah. Riffing off of that. Yeah, that's it.
All right, moving on to question 2 from Philadelphia. Actually, I'm going to do this real quick. Folks, we are doing the Twitter thing. So if you hashtag iDestroyer, your tweet should magically appear on screen.
If somebody did actually pay for a hat. I never
got a disgruntled customer here.
If they actually did pay, I didn't think that I'd actually sell one. Because I just am really bad at the whole game. But I will make sure to make it worth their while in the package.
Another Rick Weaver bought all those fucking hats with his 2020 tax money. That's just a
hates.
Yeah, hates is the New England spelling, or the Old English. I'm sorry.
Yes. Okay. With his 2000, yeah. Okay, yeah.
That's just some commentary from the Peanut Gallery. We're gonna move on to question 2 from Espo. Frozen in Time. Look at that mug.
Interesting. And my second question is, Rick, me and you, we used to have some pretty heady conversations late into the night. Conversations that I've, would cherish quite a lot, actually. And one of our favorite topics of conversation was about rhythm and groove and people's part in it, and falling into the rhythm, sometimes getting stuck in the rhythm, but also kind of knowing your part in keeping the rhythm going and honoring it and not derailing it, unless, of course, it begs to be derailed, if you know what I mean. But one of the things that I've been thinking of recently, a lot actually, is where the rhythm comes from. If it already exists, if it's sentient, if it's out there in the ether, whether it's in us. So that's my second question for you, Rick, is where does the rhythm come from? Where does it live? Where does it originate? And I'll take my answer off the air. And again, thanks for having me on the show. You both are beautiful. I love you both. God bless.
Yeah, Kevin and I worked together in a warehouse. We spent a lot of good time. Good time. Just yeah, and then at night too. Yeah, as he referenced there. I don't remember the conversation in question, but that's the nature of these things. So much of this stuff is ephemeral and transient. Where does the rhythm come from? I guess I'd take more of a polytheistic answer to that and say there's a whole lot of rhythms out there. There's not really one rhythm. And it's hard to say. I guess I'm not sure. That was because it sounded like I'm not sure. Is he talking about something? Like human interaction, or is he talking about like the musical concept of a rhythm or the rhythm?
I would say the latter.
The latter of
The two.
okay.
It seems
Yeah,
to
I
me
mean, I guess
he was in a sort of mystical frame of mind. I think both of those questions are pretty non-secular, I'd say.
yeah. I would love to defer to the Kunster on that one too. I feel like he come up with a really good answer. Um, I feel like yeah, if maybe that's the draw there is the Kunster does get into that sort of cosmic mystical stuff lyrically. Um, I'm not sure if I'm able to get there as easily. Um, uh, I mean, we hear sounds, and our brain structures them into. No, I don't know. I can't do the academic thing either. Um, yeah, I just say that there's a lot of rhythms, just like there's a lot of roads.
And a lot of threads and a lot of strings. Folks, we're opening the phone lines 401-256-1454 as usual. If you have my phone number in your telephone, that's also the telephone number for the show. Give us a call or text at your leisure. In the interim between when these fancy people get their trigger fingers in action, I'm going to ask you just a couple more notebook questions, if you don't mind. Another question was, there's a standard of crisp recordings on your recorded albums. The recordings I find are, as far as fidelity, rather crisp. And I was wondering if you could draw back into your history, and you may have already answered this. Go back into your own personal history, and if you could say what inspired your personal standards of quality when it came to fidelity and recording.
Oh, well, thank you for the compliment. I always feel that they're not ever up to speed. Yeah. So I don't know how to answer that. Wait, what's the question? What would my standard be?
What inspired your standards? Like when I think about myself, I can point to bands like the Dead Sea or Skullflower and say, these bands, I'm always thinking about them when I'm mixing. Is there such a thing in your mind?
I've been listening to the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack a lot, and for some reason, a lot of that, like, I didn't expect it to be as familiar as it was, but I was thinking, wow, this is very familiar. Uh, 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 so maybe what would be the closest to that? uh, I'm just trying to think back. I guess it's no, not really. It's another one of them vague answers. That there's many rhythms and many sounds. Man, I thought we got that first question was going to be the tough one out of the way, but this is just that first question was I'm terrible at being at, at, at being interviewed.
You're doing great. One more question.
I'm having a great time, and I love this television show. And I want to make a compilation of the whole show, but it makes me feel weird because I'm a fan of the show. But I'm on it right now.
Hello?
I think I will make it like greatest hits.
Oops, we lost him.
Uh-oh.
Why did you hang up, Eric? Call back. Come on.
Is he mad about that? Oh, no, he won hats.
He was confused.
He's a big winner.
I'm just going to call him. There we go. Eric, you're live with Rick Weaver. Let him have it.
Oh, shit. I was hoping you weren't going to say my name, but that's cool. Hey, about like 5 or 6 years ago, I think we got into a face slapping competition that was in Richmond, Virginia, and it was meant to go on the next day in North Carolina. And I was just wondering, if someday you'd want to continue that face slapping competition. No, no stress, no like bad vibes or anything, just slapping each other in the face. Yeah.
Thanks for the call.
I think the spirit has lived on. There was the time when you had asked both me and Ren to do things to each other when we saw each other for the first time in a while. That I think had had a bit of that spirit. And then at the wedding in Providence, there was covered in corn fiasco. Covered in corn was definitely up in the ante. I don't know. Yeah, it might be nice to get back to just good old slapping. But I guess we could go two ways. One, we could go back to old tried and true slapstick classic. Or two, could up the ante and do something like new, like stack hats on her head. No, I feel like that's done. Maybe have like a big old pie fight or something. Or like we could tap dance on top of a grand piano.
Hello?
Norristown, Pennsylvania. You're live with Rick Weaver. What do you got for us?
Oh, we're live?
You are, yeah.
Cool. My name's Kenny Basil. I was just wondering if the individual had any thoughts on the TV show Everyone Loves Raymond.
Cool. All right. Thanks for the call.
I've never seen it. I'm not a big fan of, I pretty much like most things, but I did not like Ray Romano's work in the movie The Irishman, and I did not like anybody's work in that movie The Irishman. I could not stand that movie. So that's probably my most familiar association with Ray Romano's work. Trying to think if I've seen him in anything else. but from that movie, it's not his fault. I mean, it's everybody is in this character of who they are. It's just a terrible. I shouldn't even get into it. It's just an awful movie. I think the whole streaming thing is just, there's that whole, for years we've been hearing that directors are always saying this is not the version of the movie that I wanted. If I had control, it would have been the real version. And you're watching like Event Horizon or Johnny Mnemonic, and you say, hey, this movie's fantastic. What are you talking about? And then these fellas have this complete creative control. Where I feel like the Netflix thing specifically, or probably any of those streaming studios, I'm not familiar with how each one operates. Feels like they're just not. You almost, that executive pushback is probably good for the creative thing. The Johnny Mnemonic thing, I forget who directed that, but that is like really the only work that stands out in the crowd. And there's interviews with him where he's bashing Rucker Hare's performance in that movie. It's like, the whole director as a god is just has been finally deconstructed and disassembled by the absence of any good work from any of these people now that they have total creative control. So Ray Romano, I don't think it's his fault. I don't think it's his fault that movie is bad. I guess if we're deconstructing the idea that the director, it's probably not the director's fault either. It might be the absence of an extremely aggressive, business-driven, bottom line studio thing of like we're gonna make this movie. We need it tighter. We need it faster. We need it bigger, better. We need a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I don't know. I don't really know how any of that stuff works at all. This is a complete fantasy. Like there's, yeah. Look at Ren. Ren is such he's always there, but Cat also taking that role of the passive observer. Yeah, there's Ray Romano. Yeah, I'll probably actually end up watching some Everybody Loves Raymond after this, because now you got me curious about I'm making a note to myself here. Everybody Loves Raymond. It's probably good. I mean, it looks like it was on for 9 seasons. That must seem like something. Sitcoms are a tough sell, though. Yeah, TV is a tough sell in general. Ray Romano. Let's see what else he's been in. I'm sure he's been in something good. I mean, you got to work hard to get to that. Yeah, get Shorty. Oh, TV show? I don't know what that is. I hate to say it, but I really think that I've only seen him in Cosby. He was in Cosby, maybe like guest spot. A guest on Letterman. That doesn't really count. Yeah. I think a lot of this stuff now that that I'm a dad, probably get to. There will be like these Ice Age movies. I've been saving kind of the family stuff for that big moment. So he looks sort of like a family stand-up comedian, from what I'm gathering. How in the hell was he on the Dick Van Dyke Show? You can't trust anything you read anymore on the internet. It's just it's hard to trace it back, find the Dick Van Dyke Show. Ray Romano on 1961. How old is he? Maybe he what? Maybe he is that old. If so, he stayed very young for his age. Paddleton. Make Big Al happy.
Fucking hell. Thanks for being on the show, Rick. I don't think anybody's calling.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to the rest of the fucking show. But yeah, I want to say thank you and thanks for taking the time. Thanks for fielding my notebook questions and the vid questions from everybody. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I did, and I'm looking forward to the rest of this evening. And
cool.
I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. This is just an amazing television show.
It's pretty good.
It's an honor to be here, and I'm sorry for gumming it up for however long time.
It was an exceptionally long segment, but we're psyched to have you. Anyhow, so long. See you someday soon, hopefully.
Bye. Thanks for all the questions.
I'm gonna play this Saphageist remix of Buck Young song that came out, I guess, like 2 months ago. It's pretty sick. It's got a lot of good text that you can read. And I'm gonna make sure the volume's correct. Enjoy this video, folks.
they see the acts of their own hands, or they see that which they name and call out to one another, but the world between is invisible to them. You want to catch the wolf, but the wolf is like a snowflake. You catch the snowflake, but when you look in your hand, you don't have it anymore. If you want to see it, you have to see it on its own ground. If you catch it, you lose it. And where it goes, there's no coming back. God becomes man, becomes fish, becomes barnacle. Goose becomes featherbed mountain. It seemed to be memories of the past are revealed as tablets of the future and portrait the present. The future is foreclosed. I hear the roaring of all space, shattered glass, a toppled masonry, and time, one livid final flame. What's left to us then?
Astrologers Chris Rapucci and Elodie Santange-Bout present a series of ideas and frameworks to best situate oneself in the upcoming opportunities which will be emerging as the greater benefic Jupiter returns to rulership. After a long stretch of excruciating and society reorganizing space weather throughout 2020 into 2021. Jupiter will be dignified in Pisces from mid-May through July 2021, and then return for December until May of 2022. This is certainly a good thing, but to make sure we are ready to make the most use of this fortunate transit in trying times, we might want to get the big picture by examining historical cycles for perspective on where the current astro has us, what we might expect Jupiter to be helping us do and experience, how not to succumb to being washed off track, and keeping an eye on where circumstances are ultimately headed so we can ride the wave of positive influence more toward where we wish to end up. We will be approaching these presentations from a technical, magical, divinatory, astrological, animist, holistic, ecological, autonomous, and radical point of view, but in Piscean fashion, keeping our intuitions open and feeling out where we can flow into more.
Folks, get on the gram. Mayor's Nest is Chrissy's handle. Get your virtual tickets to this event that's happening on March 21st in the afternoon. We have a surprise TBA today before we cruise into the next Dave Public segment. It's the premiere of a new show called Hot Kitchen. It's a cooking show. It's filmed in Olneyville, and, with any luck, hopefully once Everything I Touch, I Destroy runs its full run and ends on April 3rd, perhaps this show will become some sort of spin-off that everyone can cruise into and enjoy. In any case, please enjoy this premiere of Hot Kitchen.
In this dawning of spring, where the salt water ends, I call upon the powers of my grandmothers to guide us through the making of mapo tofu. For this, the opening episode of Hot Kitchen. This invigorating dish's ingredients are as follows: 1 tablespoon of chili powder, 1 pound of ground pork or beef or mushrooms for vegetarian affairs, 2 tablespoons fermented black beans, a half a teaspoon of salt. This will be for the blanching of the tofu. 3 tablespoons of Sichuan fermented chili bean paste. 2 tablespoons of bacon fat, substituted for the cooking oil. 1 big finger of ginger, 3 cups of stock or water, 1 tablespoon of Sichuan pepper, 21 ounces of tofu, 3 teaspoons of Shaoxing fermented rice wine, 2 tablespoons cornstarch mixed with 3 tablespoons water, 2 spring onions, 2 heads of baby bok choy, and 8 cloves of garlic. To prep your ingredients, here we are cubing the tofu. Cube the tofu into 1-inch cubes. Here I'm trying not to cut off my fingers as I cube the tofu into 1-inch cubes. Chop your fingers of ginger into fine pieces. Most recipes call for 1 teaspoon of ginger. I prefer more ginger. I also recommend eating at Chengdu Taste. Eating their mapo tofu at least 10 times before trying this recipe. Slash the spring onions and use the top of the greens and save the rest for another day. Cleave the baby bok choy. I enjoy adding cooking greens to my mapo tofu. Spinach is also an excellent addition. Now, dry roast the Sichuan pepper without oil. Discard any of the black seeds you find. This is ready when they release their aroma, and then let them cool. You will now grind that pepper. Grind that pepper using a mortar and pestle. I had a hard time finding Sichuan pepper until I went to Stock Culinary Goods. It is recommended to blanch the tofu. Gently slide the tofu into cool water. Add 1 teaspoon of salt and bring the water to a boil and simmer for 2 minutes. Heat your pan to medium-high and add the cooking oil. Again, I'm substituting bacon fat and adding tons of chili powder instead of chili oil. Add your chopped ginger and let it sizzle for 10 seconds. Add your ground meat. Here we're using beef from Windmiss Farm and rice wine from Good Fortune. Stir fry that meat until it's pale. Blend in Sichuan chili bean paste, fermented black beans, and chili powder. Stir vigorously, and then add 8 cloves of garlic chopped. Most recipes call for less, but I love to add lots and lots of garlic. And his way from Red House Spice says, fry until fragrant. Next, pour in your stock. Swish and bring to a boil. The blanched tofu has since been drained. And again, ever so gently, slide in that drained tofu. And leave to boil uncovered to let the liquid lessen to your liking. Mix well before you add half of the cornstarch. Waiting 10 seconds. And then adding the other half of the cornstarch to make the sauce. Swirl together. The blanching of the tofu makes the tofu stronger, so it doesn't fall apart in your dish. Gently lay the bok choy on top and put on the lid and cook the greens to your preference of crispness. Legend has it Mapo tofu was first made 100 years ago by a pock-marked elderly lady in Chengdu, the capital of Sichuan province in China. Some reports date the dish as far back as 1254. And here's our finished dish, steaming ma po tofu. It's mala, numbing, and spicy. It's aromatic, it's hot, and it's tender. Here I used brown rice, but I highly recommend white rice. Spoon over the rice. Sprinkle on as much Sichuan pepper as you can possibly take. Shower with fresh spring onions. And enjoy. Thank you for joining us for this first episode of Hot Kitchen.
Folks, get real vocal and demand that show become a regular thing. It could be the Better Call Saul to our Breaking Bad, so to speak. We're going to fucking play this Cabo Boing Swirl Up video live down in Florida. Cabo Boing, one of my favorite bands. This is a scant 2.5 minutes of entertainment, and then we're going to rock right into Dave Public's world. So stick around, folks.
The simple joys, rolled out no confidence, kept it on a tightrope. Wet feet and blood, right when times, living a clean flame on company time. Magnificence. Smaller people, importers, aging towers, in the ozone, big time projects, ever ago. We never speak our secrets, because when one dies, we then it's rent.
Folks, join me in greeting tonight's next and final guest, Providence's own Dave Public.
Hello.
Hello, Dave. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Welcome back to the
Hi.
show.
Yeah, I just can't quit this show.
Neither can I. So, my first question for you tonight, Dave, is will I ever receive the Hand of Food LP that I purchased all those months ago?
Oh wow, we're getting into like old business first. Yeah. Eric has them. Eric is the guy that's got all the records. I have one copy. I have my own. Haven't even been able to give one to my own family or my dearest friends. It's been very upsetting, and Eric holds very tight reins on all of that.
I see. So I'll get on Eric's case about that. Perhaps.
Yes.
Perhaps. My second question was I don't remember. But I wanted to relate to you something anecdotal, which is when I was a child in my 20s and I moved to Providence, I remember speaking to a friend of mine, and this was around the time of the CDR compilations of the Real Slow Rodeos coming out. Real Slow Radio, Real Slow Rodeo. And I remember my friend saying to me, yeah, Dave Public, it's that real deep cut Providence noise. The true shit. The forgotten basement shit. And I was like, oh, damn. And then through the years, I started to become aware of who you were and the kind of projects that you were involved with. Grindcore bands, solo noise, all kinds of shit. But you've been in Rhode Island for your entire life. Is that true?
I I have the distinction of never having lived anywhere other than Rhode Island in my entire life. I've only ever lived in Rhode Island. This is my home. This is where all my family is from. This is my home. Yeah. There's been a lot of that kind of thing over the years of people, because Providence is a very like transient city. It's a college town, and there's been a lot of people who've come and gone, which is great. And the flow of people is always good, but you occasionally get that sort of attitude, like you get with any place, of just like, oh, like, who's staying in Providence anymore? Like, why is anyone still in Providence? Like, like the scene there is dead and blah, 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 blah. And, which is entirely untrue anyway, but just like, it's good to have roots. I got my roots. I love Providence regardless of how much is going on. A different landscape than when I was younger and up in this, and first was meeting you and a lot of other people. But like, yeah, there's always this like indelible energy, regardless of like how active, or hyperactive the scene is, or whatever.
Speaking of roots, it's a not even that well kept secret that everybody knows. You've got an incredible singing voice. So is this a result of growing up in a musical household where you were encouraged to express yourself through song at an early age?
I did grow up actually in a very musical household. Well, to a certain degree. My dad played in bands, from his teen years onward until a bit before I was born. He played in a band called Lawrence Talbot that gigged around a ton and like was playing all over New York in the late 70s. They played at CBGB's in Max's Kansas City. They played at the ACI. They weren't allowed to bring their own smoke machines to the show at the ACI, which I think kind of bummed them out. And they had kind of like a Blue Oyster Cult pentagramish kind of vibe, sort of like dark hard rock. But I think it was by like 77, 78, that was going out of fashion, and they were playing these kind of punk clubs, and that's why it didn't blow up or whatever. But so another voice just came out of nowhere.
Trip not, my brother. It's all under control.
Okay. Yeah, and then like and he's also a luthier. He went to school to be a luthier. So he was always like, working on guitars and stringed instruments and stuff like that. And then when I was in high school, he started playing in bands again, playing like cover bands and, dad rock and playing at bars and stuff. But like, regularly playing. So it was like, not in my young childhood, but from like high school onward and before I was born, and kind of a presence in the house, there was always like a very active musical presence. I got a drum kit at a very young age. And then my godfather gifted me like a 60s Gretsch jazz kit, which is probably like an incredibly nice, like vintage kit that now is that I was a kid. Like he gave it to me when I was like 10, and I beat the shit out of it and was not nice to it, and like brought it to friends' house in my trunk and whatever. And I shudder to think of what horrible damage I did to such a nice drum kit. The singing, on the other hand, though, I don't know. Like I've always been kind of a self-conscious person, but at some point I decided or realized I liked doing that. And then just started doing it a lot. I sing around the house a lot. I sing to the dog. I make up a lot of songs to the dog on the spot. Big dog singer. I have been for quite a few years now. I also, in the 4th grade, I wasn't known as like a singer or anything, but I somehow won the audition to play the lead of Emmett Otter in Emmett Otter's Jug Band musical presentation at my school. So in 4th grade, I played Emmett Otter in Emmett Otter's Jug Band on stage with a paper otter face kind of on my head like this, like taped like this. It may have been on like a paper plate.
It's criminal that you mention that now without having sent us an image that I could broadcast on screen.
I'm
for the
just
audience.
thinking about that now. I have it on tape. We'll dig that up. I've got it somewhere.
Folks, be sure Dave will be back on the show, perhaps for season 2. We have some entertainment lined up in the form of questions, video questions. You want to jump right into that world?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, excellent. Let's do that.
Hi, Dave. So you do a lot of...
Let's get the audio correct for this. I think there's 2, maybe 3 questions in here.
Hi, Dave. So you do a lot of things that I couldn't begin to understand. So I have a very simple question for each of the things that you do. So in regards to being a snack expert, what would you say is the snack that you are the most knowledgeable in? Like, what are you the most expertly, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is the snack that you're real good at? Like, you know a lot about.
Fire away, Dave.
Wow, I'm very curious who that is, because it was a cameo. Some kind of celebrity, I guess. But snack that I'm most knowledgeable about? Fucking hell. Ice cream. I can really talk about ice cream. Sweet things, most definitely. That's a problem. That's always been a problem. I've talked about having desires to try to cut a lot of sugar out of my life, and it's been really, really difficult to do that. Yeah, lately I can say something I'm very immediately conversant in, something that I've been back into that I go here and there with is cereal, eating dry cereal. I'll sometimes eat it with milk, but rarely, and mostly just like a dry cereal. At the moment, I've been really into Cinnamon Life, which I hadn't had in many, many years, but which I saw on sale at Dave's Market. and I bought a box, $2.99, and just thoroughly enjoyed it and plowed through the box. It never touched milk at all, and I just bought another one the other day, and it's already getting pretty low. Also, frosted mini wheats are a great, just dry snacking cereal.
Beautiful. Yeah. No milk. We don't drink the milk of a cow.
Sometimes, but yeah.
Dave, what is your favorite gummy?
I mean, Haribo definitely, like just the Haribo brand. I could never eat a different gummy company, like gummies from any company other than Haribo for the rest of my life. Unpopular, I'm kind of a fan, and they're not my favorite, but I'd like to give a shout out to the raspberries and blackberries that have like the little red or black sugar dots on the outside. I feel like everyone hates those. I'm a big fan, but they're not my favorite. I'd say Star Mix. Star Mix has like a little bit of everything, or a little bit of a few things. No, you're fucking nasty, Eric. But
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry. Star Mix. I would say Star Mix probably overall because it's got a great mix of different things. It's got the double snakes. It's got the rings. It's got bears, of course, gold bears. It's got the double cherries. I feel like something animal shaped maybe as well.
But you said that your number one is ice cream. Is there a particular flavor that you would pick over every other flavor every time?
Every time. I do like a good strawberry ice cream. I don't know. Also not always popular, but a shitty strawberry ice cream is like awful, but a good strawberry ice cream can be fantastic.
Do you want to give a shout out to perhaps your favorite go-to ice cream shed located in Rhode Island or the lower southeastern Massachusetts area?
Yeah, Three Sisters in up on Hope Street is really good. They make their own ice cream. That place out in Barrington, or that shit. There's a real good place out there. I also really like Bliss Brothers ice cream, which is made in Attleboro, Massachusetts. Their factory is up in Attleboro. Eskimo King is good during the summer because they do soft serve primarily. They have like soft serve and hard ice cream, but for soft serve they have something like 2,500 flavors or something completely unreasonable, which I'm sure means that they're just entirely like weird chemical syrups, but it's totally worth it. And there's like a kind of like head spinning, sort of like almost nauseating number of flavors that they offer.
Word. Let's move on to the next question that this cameo star would love to pose to you.
VHS archiver. What's your favorite genre? And do you ever get bored archiving? Because I feel like that must not be fun to sit through like a movie that you just don't care about. I mean, but again, I don't know anything about it, so maybe you don't have to sit through it. I don't know. What's your favorite genre to archive, though?
I'm just so curious who she is. Not movies. Stuff that people were never really meant to see, that a lot of people weren't meant to see. Found tapes, got some great tapes of like people's vacations. Hand of Food used a segment of a tape that I found of some people's vacation to like a very, very very probably one of those all-inclusive resorts where you never ever leave the resort. It may have, I can't remember where it was, but something where you are guided along every single step of the way and everything is taken care of. And yeah, just some family enjoying their vacation. My favorite tape that I have that would fall under that is no, that doesn't. That doesn't. It doesn't really count because it's not really found. But a tape that this somehow has never made it on the internet. There's like 2 minutes of it that have made it on the internet, and other than that, it seems to somehow have completely like flown under the radar. And it's a tape that this guy made who had been a party photographer in, I think, Long Island during the late 80s and early 90s, and primarily Jewish and Italian weddings and bar mitzvahs. And it's a compilation of footage that he had no right to, that he stole out of people's party videos of just like horrible, embarrassing bloopers and whatever, and people just like saying and doing incredibly stupid shit. And it's just one of those last kind of pure things that has not made it on the internet and not been kind of spoiled on fucking YouTube. And I've always been kind of a jerk about it, and I refuse to make copies of it for people. But I'll show it to anybody who wants to see it.
Hell yeah, fetishize obscurity. Let's go to the last question I think she's going to pose. Here we go.
And as far as it goes with experimental noise musician, what inspires you? Do you just like hear a clatter or a clang and you think of a song? Thanks. Hi, Dave. So you do a lot of things that I couldn't begin to understand. So,
oh, Jesus Christ.
Who is this person? I don't.
Yeah, who is? Somebody sound off in the comments. Who is this person? Yeah. What's the question? How does noise me? I don't know. That's not a question I'm going to answer.
What inspires you, man, as a noise musician?
I don't know. I'm not a good musician. I don't have.
Kaylee Carpenter is that celebrity.
Kaylee Carpenter.
Kaylee.
Okay.
Carpenter.
Other people are saying it's Corky.
Oh, they would.
Yeah, of course. I don't know. I'm not like a great musician. I'm a drummer, so I've never had any kind of particular sense for like a tuned instrumentation, and it like just kind of doesn't come easy to me necessarily. So it's always been like a real hard abstraction from actual musicality for the most part. And yeah, a lot of like the thing that's playing in the background and that like that clip was from is all based on like this lighting canopy for like a hanging pendant light that I got from my job. That's just this little metal canopy and some just like 30 seconds of me bowing it with a violin bow, and then just that stretched out and slowed down and sped up and looped a bunch. Slowed down, it kind of made like it at the regular speed it had a kind of like a high-pitched screeching sound, but slowed down a bunch. There were like these overtones and kind of harmonics coming out into like a that were easy to kind of turn into a drone thing. So yeah, I don't know, like just deeply abstracting acoustic sounds, especially in the last like 5 or 10 years or whatever, like getting away from electronic sound and getting more into just like purely microphone based sounds, like mostly not super heavily processed. So yeah, I don't know, sounds from here and there. I use a lot of incidental sounds, like taking recordings of things and then cutting out the sort of like intended interesting parts and using the more incidental background sounds and blowing them up, amplifying them like room sounds, and finding stuff that's in there. A lot of incidental sound, and utilizing incidental, like ultra non-musical sounds for potentially musical means, I guess.
There you go, Kaylee. I hope that sated your curiosity about Dave's process. We're going to move on to our next cameo superstar, Carolyn Grace Marie. Let's get ready to rumble with her.
Hey Dave, I was wondering if you could tell me about the best and worst power electronics performances that you've ever seen. I would love to hear your thoughts about this.
Who the fuck is that? I'm not a big fan of electronics as far as like a subgenre of like the sub underground whatever. I think it's I've just never been in. I don't know. It's funny because I like I can enjoy like hardcore grind or whatever, obviously, but I'm like something about just like harsh electronics and some fucking dude just yelling about sexual frustration and violence is just so unbearable for me, and always kind of has been, and has in the past set me at odds with certain like people who are big practitioners of the dark arts. And I feel like power electronics is almost like kind of the most self-serious of the self-serious super whatever. So yeah, I don't know, a bunch of them, a ton of them. They've usually been kind of stupid. I like Bloody Minded is a ton of fun because they're like a fucking rock band. You see Bloody Minded and they're singing about, similar subject matter, whatever, blah blah blah, but they look like the fucking Rolling Stones, and it's yeah. Make it fun. If you're gonna do it, at least make it fun. Just don't take it too super seriously and bum everybody out and just be miserable. Yeah. I hope that answers the question.
No, it doesn't. Do you have a favorite or least favorite? Was the question. We could just go with Bloody Minded. That's a perfectly good answer.
Yeah, Bloody Minded would be best. Worst, there's been a ton of them. It's no disrespect to people. There are definitely people who do it well. There are plenty of people who do it well. It's just kind of not for me most of the time. Mostly because of the subject matter. It just bums me out, and it's not. It's fine, and it's just not for me.
Copy that. We don't need to dwell on the absolute worst aspects of life. We can just move on to the next question. This comes from Brooklyn rapper Tim's Ty-Star.
What's the best piece of strips in Rhode Island?
Ooh. Hang on, I'm gonna not lean back to answer like that. So, typically, I've been a really big fan of Calvitos. I ran a poll on a snack-related blog that I do on Instagram called Dave Loves Snacks. Traditionally, my favorite has been Calvitos. There's one in two in Cranston that are both on Park Avenue in two different parts of Park Ave, and there's one in Wakefield, and there might even be another one. That's good, very, very simple. I'm a very big fan. I used to really like Palmieri's. There was a Palmieri's on Ridge Street in Providence, and another one in De Pasquale Square over on Federal Hill. And they were great. They were kind of smaller. I like it when they have a bit of a crunch to them in the crust. They are not nasty, Eli, if you get good ones. And so, yeah, these ones were nice square ones. They had a good crunch to them, a good thick sauce that wasn't too sweet, and big fat chunks of garlic in it. There's a place over on... There's another place that I can't remember the name of, so I'll have to get back to you on that. But recently, I've been a really big fan of D. Palmieri's in Johnston on Killingly Street, I think. And yeah, also kind of like a nice big square one with a lot of garlic and not too sweet of a sauce.
Keeping on the subject of pizza strips, we're going to go into a more maybe controversial vein of thought and expression with cameo star Amir Yasseh. We'll see what kind of dust this gentleman is looking to kick up.
Hi, Dave. So I think that Rhode Island pizza strips are totally trash and taste gross. What can you say to change my mind? Next.
Looks like you interjected a little tagline there.
I don't know how to respond to that. If you don't like them, you don't like them. I know people who don't like them. I know Rhode Island natives who don't like them, and it bums me out, and it makes me sad that they can't enjoy something so wonderful. I know that Eli, especially, is not a big fan. The Cumberland Farms one, I mean, you can't even talk about that. Some people are really into the really like raw ones. Like there's ones that you can get at convenience stores. Growing up, there were always like these greasy, blobular, wrapped in this weird kind of like wax plastic paper, or in these bags at the convenience stores growing up, and they would be like, $1 at most, and they were horrible, and the sauce was super sweet and thick, and they were just fucking like soggy, joyless, but we ate them because you eat all sorts of gross stuff when you're kids. Dave's Market also, a lot of people really stand the Dave's Marketplace pizza strip, and I'm not here for it. I don't like them. I think it's too sweet, and they have they're kind of, it's too doughy and doesn't have any kind of crunch to it. I'm just not into it.
I am so goddamn hungry after all this snack talk and that hot kitchen segment.
The hot kitchen was a knockout.
I am so fucking
I have
hungry.
to say.
God damn it.
That hot kitchen, I wish they would. I mean, are they eating that right now? Can we go down there after we're done with this and go and eat some of their tofu?
I believe they wrapped filming Thursday night, I believe, so I would say no.
Oh, so we'd be well into
some deep marination. Yeah. So moving on to reality TV show superstar Dominic Nati. I don't remember what this gentleman's question was, but we'll soon find out together.
Hey, it's Dominic from the Dominic Natty Show. Dave Public, I'm compiling a noise table. What are the most important components to start off with?
Oh my god, I love this. I have great love for what's happening here tonight.
Shout out to the homies.
I love the people whom I love dearly. A noise table. Okay. I'll answer really practically. First of all, have a table. Actually have your own table. Like, bring your own table to the show. Be the person who has to always borrow a table and who has to set up right before you play. Just bring a table. Unless you absolutely can't, your own table to the show. So a table, a mixer. Definitely played a bunch of shows for years early on, before realizing that you needed a mixer to play. Everything would just be kind of like fed through other stuff into the whatever was at the end. Yeah, a table, a mixer, and a reliable power strip. Yeah, and then after that, like whatever you put into that can be great. Nothing in particular, but yeah, a table, a good power strip that you bring, and a mixer, and extra cables and adapters. I have a very Boy Scout approach to this, so it's not. Yeah, it's really the most boring shit are the things that you should get first.
Quick trip to Lowe's should take care of that whole to-do list, folks. We're moving into Nicholas Radke and his inscrutable curiosity regarding Dave's personal
Hey, Dave
life.
Public. I heard that you're answering questions live on TV, and one of your friends wanted me to ask you, what is one of your favorite memories from Savage Weekend? He would like to know, and I would like to know as well. Answer that, please.
Savage Weekend.
Jesus. Particularly savage moment, I think, would be T-Funk. doing a set at very late, I think on a Saturday night. One of those like sets that was late enough that people were really revved up and or like on the verge of passing out, and it kind of amped people up. And it was a lot of I don't remember what the set was. It was, him talking into a microphone. There was a lot of antagonism, and he got into something with somebody else, which in the end, I'm not sure if it was like planned or not. It probably was. They kind of started fighting. It may or may not have gotten personal, and it ended with him getting picked up and carried through the crowd and outside and dumped into that spot behind the fence where everybody pisses. So that was a pretty fun one.
Little slice
I'm
of life.
assuming that was all planned or planned enough. And yeah, he's a high school math teacher as well. That guy. So I thought that was great. I thought it was great putting yourself in a position like that you were ready to have a crowd of people throw you into a like pile of urine rocks.
Folks, we have one more video question, and then we're going to hand the reins over to our viewers. Of course, the phone number remains the same, 401-256-1454. You can call or text, communicate with our guest, Dave Public. We're also going to be fucking around with this Twitter bullshit. So if you use the hashtag #IDestroyer, your shit will just magically pop up on a motherfucking screen. Dig that.
All those fucking hates.
401-256-1454 is the motherfucking number to communicate with Dave Public tonight. And then, moving on to our final cameo. This is actually the only person I recognized.
Ooh.
I'm going to say that we got our money's worth with this guy. Here he comes.
Hello, Dave Public. I'm Kevin McDonald. Why am I giggling? I don't know. It's kind of funny to be Kevin McDonald. I'm, in case you're thinking, who's that old guy? I am a little old, and my hair is a little crazy, because I'm living in a city with a lockdown, and my barber's a coward! So, in case you know, I am Kevin McDonald. I'm one of the kids in the hall. Yes, the comedy troupe, the kids in the hall. We're okay. We're okay. But I'm the weakest member. Yes, and my hair is crazy, as I said. Anyway, I am Kevin McDonald. I have a question, Dave Public. I have a question over here. First of all, first question, why is your name Dave Public? You're a noise musician. That's sort of like punk, isn't it? Shouldn't be a name like Dave don't care about anything, or Dave Rodden. Rodden's been taken. You'll get sued. He's got good lawyers. Is he alive? I don't know. Johnny. Dave Terrible. Dave hate everything. Dave Public seems like he'll get things organized. He makes noise when he makes music, but he'll get things done. You'll get things done. You don't seem so anti-stuff. But maybe you're not. Well, you're Dave Public. Anyway, I can't hear your question. I'll shut up. You can answer me. Why's your name Dave Public?
Oh, God. This is one of the most twisted things that I've ever experienced in my life. Okay. Twitter account. No. When I first started playing shows in that sort of idiom or whatever, I played for a couple years under the name Cousin Mosquito, which was from some kind of novelty song. And then eventually, or 3 changed it to Dave Public, and I think the idea at the time was that it sounded kind of like a vague person name, like John Q. Public. So I think at the time when I would have been 22, I think it did have like a sort of like a punk rock name sort of context in my head. So there you go. you know, yeah. 2003, Dave Public was born, and here we are. I've had people write me checks for things to the name Dave Public, and I've had to explain that away and how I can't, deposit that. But yeah, that's not my given name. My given name is a closely guarded secret.
Thank you, Kevin McDonald, for that probing question. We do have a tweet question from the Twitterverse. Can you please speak about what your fucking Twitter account is all about? Thanks, brew. Then we got this answer. Oh, come on. Work function. Dave, that doesn't care about anything. Destroyer.
Wow.
That's your punk name?
Yeah. I guess it is. Yeah, I mean, I should have. Kevin McDonald suggested it, who I think is a wildly underrated member of Kids in the Hall. But
yeah, popularly regarded as the weakest.
Oh, Twitter! This Twitter that just tweeted there. Yeah. So I have no control over the official Dave Public Twitter. I do not operate that. An outside agency operates that and has for years. Had been up online making posts for, I think, the better part of a year, 6 months, 9 months, maybe even a year before I actually even found out about it because someone told me, because I am not a user myself. It has existed for quite a number of years, and I officially endorse it. I don't necessarily endorse everything it says. Occasionally it posts things that I myself have said, but I just have faith in outside force to maintain it on my behalf on an official basis. It's worked out well so far.
I'm gonna edit a question from St. Louis, Missouri, and say, Dave, what's your favorite bad show memory?
Playing or seeing?
Up to you.
Was just talking the other day with my friend Ed, about a show, and it wasn't like an excruciating experience. I played a show at the Acheron in Brooklyn, which is like a decent sized venue. It was a Monday night show, and it may have been the smallest crowd I've ever played in front of. It especially at like a decent sized venue, completely fog, like ran big industrial sized fog machines, and you couldn't see 5 feet in front of you. One thing when there are people there to disperse it, but when nobody's there, it's just confusing and you can't see anything. But played through like big gigantic like PA, which is cool, and it was fine. Like, I don't person who booked the show. It just was one of those things that it was a Monday night show in Brooklyn. There was probably some competing shows, so meant to be. Can't remember. Mannion played it. John Mannion played it. Me, Eric, Soft Target at the time, somebody else. But yeah, it was like a show in just this big cavernous room with a big booming sound system for literally no one, which is kind of great in its own way. But I guess it technically is a bad show, but it's a positive memory of a bad show.
We got Philly checking in. What's up, Sharky Cats? Waving a hand from Philadelphia.
I love Philadelphia. Philly is one of the first cities I want to go and visit when the pandemic is kind of like chilled out, or when it seems safe to go places and hang out. I want to go to Philly and fucking eat food.
Yep.
Providence, Philly's great. I love Philly.
Providence is gonna leave en masse and go fuck around in Philly for a few days. July 4th.
Think like we should maybe get like a 16 passenger van or a small tour bus. Bring a chunk of Providence for a weekend.
Yeah, I don't think we really have a choice. From San Antonio. Nikki asks, do your dogs sleep in bed with you at night?
Dogs have always slept in bed. That started years ago, and it's that kind of thing that once it starts, there's just nothing you can do about it. Yeah, at the moment we just have one dog, which is, as far as the bed situation goes, is a little easier to maneuver. Just in that there's only one dog at your leg. When there's two, although we'll be back to at least two at some point, so we'll be back there. But at the moment, it's just one, which is, she kind of she fits in between. But yeah, always dogs sleep in the bed. It's like a thing that you live with it. You make that choice and you live with it. And it's cool. It's mostly good. It's I don't have a ton of bad thoughts regarding having a dog in the bed. I mostly enjoy having a dog or dogs in the bed.
We're rounding out the Piscean age, the Piscean moment, 2021, and we want to know, straight from the lips of a fish, what's the secret to a lasting relationship?
Wow, real shit. Give each other space. Give each other space and don't be up in each other's shit. You don't need to check somebody else's emails or whatever, or text messages or whatever people do. Not that, that's like a really intrusive example, but just like, I don't know, just give each other space and give each other time to do your own thing. And I think that's a big key. And be like a good person and have like mutual respect.
Words to live by. Dave, can you please speak to why you used to play out of a Tupperware back in the day?
It was convenient because I didn't have to break all my gear down, because it was just like, it was like a road case. It was like a job lot, Ocean State job lot version of a road case. It was a Tupperware road case. I don't remember if it had a top to it. I don't think it did, but it was just an easy way to bring gear mostly all set up and ready to play. My first few shows, I remember my gear always traveling in a laundry basket. I haven't actually thought about that for a really long time, but yeah, definitely a good number of Cousin Mosquito shows were played with the gear brought to the show in a laundry basket. Not like to be funny or anything. I think just because it was like a sturdy container to transport stuff in that I had access to right then.
Folks, 401-256-1454. Speak to Dave Public. This is your one and only chance tonight. Or tweet at us for this new novel exploitation of technology that we are experimenting with tonight. I think I'm going to order some food from Chengdu Taste. They close at 11, I think, right?
You better get that order in soon.
Yeah, I think I'm going to peruse the menu. Actually, I know what I want. I want Mapu tofu.
Chongqing chicken, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
God damn it, that sounds good right now.
Dude, I'm fucking starving.
Same. Yeah, I'm going to have to do something like that myself. Maybe eat some dry cereal. Dan noodles. Good call. Yes. Nobody's calling?
What the fuck? It says it's closed. Why on earth is it closed? Well, that's terrible. Oh, we got a
Check
new
Chongqing House.
New tweet.
Is it Chongqing House in East Providence might be open.
Caller, you're live with Dave Public. Please do some damage.
Hey, what's up, Dave? This is just like an old friend and an old fan of yours. I didn't really get to know you super well until maybe like my 20s or so, we've spent a little bit of time on the road, a lot of time just like getting to know each other, talking and shit like that. And, just being good friends and, I care about you a lot. But you're totally a super weird guy, and like you drive me crazy in a good way and a bad way. But one thing I was always just really fucking curious about was like why it could be like 0 degrees out and like you won't wear a hat and you won't wear gloves with fingertips on them. Can you just tell me why you live that way? See ya.
Thanks for the call.
Wow. I don't have a good answer for that. I don't know. I've just never really been a hat person. I think when it's like super, super cold, maybe I'll wear a hat here and there. I have a hat. I'm just not really like a hat guy. And generally, when it's cold enough to necessitate something like a hat, I will probably have a hood. I do have a tendency to wear hooded winter coats. So generally, I do have something that I can cover my head with. Yeah. Gloves. I have gloves also. I'm just, if I'm like gonna be outside a bunch for a while, I also just like am kind of like one of those cold people. I don't know. If I were that uncomfortable, I would do something about it. I guess that's the answer to this caller, and to his just absolute outrage. I don't know. I just if it bothered me that much, I would do something about it. He of all people should know that if I'm uncomfortable, in some way, if I'm physically uncomfortable, I'm gonna do something about it. I don't like to be physically comfortable. I'm a man of comfort. I can accept that now at my age.
Are pizza strips the same as tomato pie in Philadelphia? I would say no, right? It's not a pie, it's a strip.
Yeah, I think it's very, very similar, but if I'm correct, I think a tomato pie is something that you order and is served hot, as opposed to another term for pizza strips is bakery pizza, because it's pizza that I've very rarely ever had it hot. You get it from the place, it's like in a bakery case, like where you buy like Danishes or whatever. Tom says no, and I will defer to Tom as someone who very much knows food in Rhode Island and Philadelphia to an almost infuriating degree at times. So if Tom's so, then I'm going to go with no.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if there's any continuity between regions in the cuisine world. Cuisine.
Man, I wish I could be eating food and food. See, I could get like a good sandwich in Philly. Like
I'm in
now.
physical.
Where could I get a good...
I'm in physical pain right now from hunger. God.
Yeah.
Fucking damn it.
We went to Beef Barn for lunch, and that was at like 4 o'clock. It was a late lunch, 3 o'clock. Milk. Not a fan of coffee as a flavor. I have never had. I don't drink coffee. I don't like mocha things. I don't like coffee ice cream. I just don't like the flavor of coffee. So no for me, man. I'm sorry. Trenton tomato pie is hot though, says Tom. So there you
Yes, well.
Yeah.
Dave, I had another statement, maybe not a question. I would guess that you and I come from a similar genetic background. What would you like? Would you care to comment on
that? Genetic background, like ethnic like. I am, I'm 50% Irish Catholic, and then I'm 50% mixed European and Russian Jew. Both the Jewish side extremely non-secular, the Catholic side there's some clergy in there, but also I would say almost kind of still very secular in an odd way. Why? What's your you got some French? Harris? That's French, right?
I think by
no.
Czech.
What do you got?
By way of Czech Republic, yeah, but mostly Celtic.
Yeah. So, genetically,
Western European.
Huh. Yeah.
But I was thinking more about the French Canadian Bay, Hudson Bay. Even though it's
no, I got none of that.
Yeah, neither do I. But I don't know. I still just want to fucking cosplay that shit tonight.
Yeah.
As I dive.
I've been. Yeah. Before we close, I'd like to say I've been getting a lot of a comfort out of getting back into the fidget spinner, which I know is a super 2017 or whatever. But during sometimes stressful times, they still hold up. The entertainment value still holds up. I really recommend. I'm sure that every single person who's watching this has one somewhere in their house. Find it, give it a spin. You'll find yourself playing with it. I swear to God. Just because you put them away doesn't mean that they don't give you the same level of satisfaction.
Dave, we got the Hand of Food on Ever Never LP that dropped this past year. What else do the fans have to look forward to as far as Dave Public output?
I mean, once I can get some shit together, it's been a hard road because I've always been very show centric as far as how I work on material. It's always been kind of towards having shows to play, and then recordings have come out of that. So I've never been a very just sit down and figure stuff out and record kind of person, which is a bad way to be, but which is why I've been playing shows for 20 years. 20 years as of this coming September, and have a handful of little solo releases over all that time because I'm just a really poorly disciplined recording person. So this has been kind of not great for the creativity. I've worked on a lot of little things here and there, but so hopefully, I don't know, stuff will start coming together. I would have a split with Jacob Winans that we're going to do, that he recorded his half of, and I need to record my own half of. So now that I've put it out there, people get on me to finish that. And if anybody wants to put it out, it's going to be a C20 split. So send your fucking lawyers our way. Yeah.
Label heads. Start the feeding frenzy.
Yeah. And then I don't know, I just got to record some stuff, and then it's there is a thing. Okay, wait, I just forgot. So there is a hold records that we saw the CEO of earlier. There, I believe that's who's talking about this, is doing some kind of a live retrospective sort of compilation thing that I think is going to be something like a C120, a ridiculous 2-hour long tape or something like that, because it's out of my hands to a certain degree. But I think that's going to be a whole bunch of live sets recorded over a period of many, many years, and maybe some other just little bits and pieces of I have recorded a lot of stuff, everything, hours and hours and hours of recordings of almost every live set I've ever played, and just jamming to work on stuff for live sets. So that's where all of it is. So yeah, there'll be something like that coming soon-ish. I don't know. I think it's being edited together.
Career retrospective in time for your 20th anniversary. Maybe we'll have a party in September.
That would be great.
God willing.
Yeah.
Folks, I'm going to give you one last opportunity to fuck with Dave. Get in there. Do your business all over. Dave Public.
I think everybody else is probably hungry at this point, too.
I know, fucking hell. Folks, of course, if you missed any of the details in Hot Lunch, you can visit my YouTube page, Big Nasty J, where all the episodes of this fucking TV show are archived and available with one swift click of your mouse. We got a text question for Dave. We got a text question for Dave. Who cuts your hair?
Over the last year, it's been me. Yeah. I think maybe the last... No, I don't know who the hell... I think the last professional haircut may have been at like a Fantastic or something. It was like really impulsive and done right before the pandemic kind of exploded. So I think it was like a Fantastic Sam's or a Snips or I don't know, something where I paid like $29.90 or $19.99 for a quick haircut or whatever from someone whose mirror was all covered in Boston Red Sox. But Reba Mitchell gave me a fantastic haircut once.
Shout out to Reba Mitchell.
Hell yeah, go to this is wasted on her talents. Yeah, got my haircut from you, and from Michael Dates for many years. I'm sad that Michael Dates moved away. It was always
relocated.
Lovely having
farewell.
Yeah. But other than that, it's been me.
I'm gonna need a haircut pretty soon. I'm gonna go down to the river, have Reba chop my coif hair.
Yeah, you're really going for it. You're like,
oh yeah, I couldn't care
feral.
less about my physical appearance, but that's all gonna change with season 2, folks. Oh, we got a telephone call.
Oh yeah, I couldn't care less. It looks.
Caller, you're live with Dave Public. Go ahead and turn down your device.
Let me mute there. Can you recommend an outdoor area for me to go to in Rhode Island now that it's spring? What is your favorite outdoor recreational area?
Thanks for the call.
That's a great question. I'm really fond of the Lincoln Woods myself. If you go off there's the Loop Trail, which is the paved loop that goes, it's like 3 miles around the whole park. But I really recommend going off on the woods trails. And there's some nice like rock formations and some elevation that you can go up and down from, and some little creeks and rivers, and a couple of at least one like decent little waterfall, like river waterfall thing that is very, very pleasant. Yeah, I like Lincoln quite a bit. We went somewhere nice in Smithfield today. Cooper. Oh shit, it was great actually. It was a tougher trail. Like it was definitely like a a little more moderate. But if you want a little, it was only like 3 miles or so, but it was wonderfully pleasant. I don't know what it was called, but we went there today and it was great. Lincoln Woods is great. Yeah, that's my favorite, I think. If you want just specifically my favorite.
We got some tweets. Failure of the apparatus. Dave, why is honey barbecue cheese doodles hot or not?
I don't think I've ever had those before, to be honest, but I would immediately go with hot though. Well,
I love you, Dave. Hi, from Michelle.
Hello.
Thanks for calling
Man,
in,
I got
Michelle.
like fans. Yeah.
Love. You got love from Michelle. What the fuck was I going? Oh yeah. Text question: is Hellraiser a cool movie?
I'm a bigger fan of the second one. I think the second one is actually better, kind of better than the first one. But yeah, I mean, it's a good movie.
I always love the second one.
The second one's got a lot more like bang.
I'm more interested in seeing hell than Earth, honestly. Or hell on Earth. I'd rather just see hell in a movie.
Sounds scary.
One more question from the same texter. Have you stepped foot into city gas yet?
Yeah, yes. It's fine. It's I've gotten some milk, I think. You know what? I think I got some milk for some cereal that I ate not dry. Certain cereals you want. Cocoa Krispies. Very, very excellent in milk. Because it turns the milk into chocolate milk. So it's
Dude, for real.
You know, double cereal jeopardy.
Yeah, never-ending pleasure. Perpetual.
That's what we're going
pleasure.
for here.
Perpetual pleasure.
There's the hands.
Hard at work. Ooh.
All right, we need to. I think we all need to go eat some food.
I think you're right, my friend. I'm gonna cut you loose. Oh, we got a new
All right,
tweet,
I'm gonna go
though.
eat some cake.
Hold up, we got one more from Florida. Florida asks, "What's your favorite depiction of hell on film?" Say it's
I don't know. Offhand, I have no idea.
Off the
What's
hand.
a movie with a Jingle All the Way?
There you go, folks. I think I'm about to die.
Yeah, let's not die. So, all right. I can't end this. You have to still.
Yeah, I'm the host, for fuck's sake. Folks, thanks for tuning in to this ridiculous episode. We got a lot of fun things coming your way. Actually, just a couple more. Next week, we're going batshit crazy with Gina Bootleg House Fire. And then Sibel and Susie Pauling are going to talk about the origin of life on Earth in great academic detail.
Whoa.
Which should be pretty impenetrable for us, the lay people. That should be a good one. And then the 27th, we're shining a spotlight on Jacob Arendes. And then the extremely talented, prolific multimedia artist Matt Minter will get some time in the sun as well. I asked you last episode who you would like to see. You asked for Lexi Mountain, and she agreed to be on the show. There was a funny snafu where I had asked Bill Nace to appear on that night many months ago. Bill was suffering from COVID. He's recently recovered. He had a pretty nasty bout of it. And he finally accepted my offer. I said, well, it's a lot of people for one episode, but then I floated the idea of Lexi and Bill interviewing each other, excluding me from the equation. They were both really enthusiastic about the idea, and I couldn't contain my excitement or how pleased I was by the notion of that taking place. So that'll be on the 27th, Jacob Brendas, Matt Minter, Lexi Mountain, and Bill Nason conversation. Yeah, that's a fucking in detail coming up at you. I can't think straight. I'm looking at this. Reba's has one more question for Dave. I'm pretty sure Dave is still... No, Dave's gone. What kind of cake does Dave have? My brain doesn't work anymore. Just want to wave a hand and say so long to you all. Thanks so much for tuning in. Can't wait to be with you again next Saturday night, 8 p.m.